Most MedSpa owners think that they have a lead problem in their business, right? They assume that the reason that their calendars aren't always full is because they need more traffic, more clicks, or just more people with eyeballs on their offer, right? But the truth is that's rarely the actual real problem in their business. What most clinics have is actually a conversion problem or a follow-up problem or a no-show that's quietly costing them thousands every single day, every single month, even when everything looks okay on the surface. What I'm going to walk you through today is called the Patient Acquisition Blueprint Audit, right? It's a diagnostic tool for scaling your med spa with patient flow, with precision and automation, with strategic insight, right? It's a simple but powerful framework we use with med spas who are earning around $50,000 a month or more to identify where the growth gaps are and to help them unlock scalable and premium patient acquisition. This tool will help you diagnose problems across 5 of the key stages in your patient's journey, right? From lead generation to close sale as a long-term client. So you know exactly where to focus on to increase show-up rates, close rates, generating more consults, and even eliminating operational bottlenecks within your business. The reason this blueprint and audit matters is in a $19 billion industry for med spas that's growing at 10 to 15% annually. The difference between a thriving and a merely surviving med spa comes to a systematic approach to patient acquisition. Most med spas are currently just focusing exclusively on delivering excellent clinical experiences, right? While neglecting what the business systems that are the foundation to be able to deliver that clinical experience to a variety and a huger number of customers, right? Which will ultimately just drive more consistent growth. The truth is your clinical skills don't actually matter if the premium patients aren't walking through your door to begin with, right? So here's how it works. We'll go through all the 5 sections and you'll rate yourself from 1 to 5 in each of the 5 core stages of the patient journey. By the end, you'll have a total score of around something out of 25 and a clearer picture of where your biggest opportunity is to unlock more consistent and scalable growth. Let's start off with stage 1, which is traffic generation. Okay, let's be honest, without qualified leads, everything else kind of stalls, right? So we look at, referrals can be great, but they're not a reliable source. They show up when things are kind of already working great and you have more people just referring you in without having to spend to acquire those customers. And ultimately, they just kind of disappear when you don't need them at all. So with industry standards, what we like to see is you're generating at least 100 quality leads per month. Now, they don't have to all turn into paying customers, but you have to have at least 100 qualified people who are interested in potentially working with you and coming to your clinic, right? If you're not at least generating 100 call leads per month from paid traffic or organic content, you're not in control of your business, right? And if you're just hoping that they come from referrals, that's a lost cause at that point, right? What a lead performance looks like here is with around 300 qualified leads per month, right? This is with paid ads that are delivering a proven offer and message that resonates with your clientele, and having short form content that builds yourself as the authority figure within your local market as the go-to clinic for any med spa or aesthetic-based procedures. If you're relying on hope instead of systems, you're going to end up scoring really low here, right? So let's go over the scoring system and score yourself between 1 to 5, with score 1 being any inconsistent or lead flow where you're pretty much just relying on organic or word of mouth. If you don't have a paid traffic or inbound system where you have a consistent posting strategy to generate leads from organic growth and paid growth, you're going to be in a bad situation, right? With getting 2 out of 5, if you have occasional campaigns, but not a consistent traffic strategy, still kind of relying on hope here instead of a planned out strategic process. 3 out of 5, now we're starting to get somewhere. You're getting traffic from one main source, right? Ideally, it's ads, referrals, or content, but the volume is ultimately unpredictable. You don't have a good idea of if I put in this much, I'm going to get this much out, right? 4 out of 5, now we're 80% of the way there. You're running traffic consistently from multiple sources, but there's still leaks here and there. You're not fully optimized. If you're able to score 5 out of 5, not only are you generating consistent content that is bringing you consistent qualified leads through ads, You're also implementing additional long-term growth strategies such as SEO, as well as organic content that helps you build as the authority figure, right? This leads to at least 100 plus leads per month that are quality and qualified, right? Another quick win you can do here is that the highest converting MedSpas always are testing introductory service package offers that just allow you to showcase your expertise while building trust with newer customers at a much lower entry point than your premium services, which you can sell them further down the line. Okay, so now let's talk about what happens when someone actually clicks, right? Now we're talking about lead capture. A good lead capture system has a lot of components to it. When a person clicks, are they taken to a clean, focused landing page with a clear next step? Or are they just bouncing off your homepage with no actual direction? Strong performance here actually looks like a person landing on a page that has to be simple but mobile optimized. A lead form with only the essentials that you need from them, which includes their name, their phone number, and their email, just so you're able to contact them if they just click off the page immediately, right? In addition to that, it needs to have clear messaging that's congruent with the messaging that you had in the organic content, as well as your paid ad system that you should be having at this point, right? In addition to that, you need to have near instant follow-up once the confirmation is and lead form is submitted. If your lead form, which just is a way of gathering information from a person who has never heard about your business or is thinking about working with you, if that lead form is cluttered or your traffic is dropping off after clicking, we have a leak. And this is fixable though. So let's dive deeper into it, right? With industry standards, you're having like a 15% opt-in rate ideally. This means that for every 100 leads that come onto that page, 15% of them are giving you access to their information, which is their phone number and email and their name, you'll be able to contact them and ideally put them in your nurturing system to hopefully book them as a booked consult and then a paying customer further down the line. As an elite med spa, you're doing 25% of that, which means 1 out of every 4th person that sees your ad, your organic content, visits your webpage, your landing page, will book and give you their information, which will allow you to nurture them further down the line. Now, common bottlenecks you'll see here is that you have way too many forms or forms that is asking for way too much information. If you're asking, hey, are you interested in this high-end service? Are you interested in that? When's the last time you did this? We can get that information later. Right now, our main objective, once the lead form is presented to a client, is we just need to get their contact information. We need to be able to contact them again. That in itself is insanely valuable and worth paying for, right? Or you just have unclear value proposition. For people to give you their contact information in the day of scammers and spammers is really, really tough. So you need to be conveying immense value for a person to be able to trust you with that contact information, right? Now, we all know we all live on our phones. If you build a webpage and it looks amazing on your webpage builder application on your laptop or on your computer, but when you look at it on mobile, it's kind of trash, then that won't work. Every landing page has to be mobile optimized, right? The next component that you'll see here is no urgency or scarcity elements. This is super, super important. Now, if as humans, we're wired not into acquiring something, but moreover to make sure that we don't miss out on something. FOMO, or fear of missing out, is a huge psychological driver, right? So one of the best ways to do that is to show scarcity, ideally in the form of, hey, this is the last time we're doing this. This offer runs for X amount of time. That prevents people from just clicking away because it says, hey, what if I miss out on this offer? The next thing you need to be implementing is another common bottleneck rather, is lack of social proof at this capture point. When we see other people who have gone through the same experience who are similar to us, it reinforces the idea in our brain that we could also go through that same experience. So showing that key social proof at this stage allows people to trust you more with this information, right? So here's how we're going to score yourself on this stage of your patient acquisition system. If you're just not capturing leads at all, you're just, manually taking information, noting it down somewhere, or just writing it in random places like a CRM or wherever it may be. You're just using DM or phone calls only to book appointments. That's a 1 out of 5. That's pretty poor, and you're not really capturing information or building a database of clients, right? 2 out of 5. Okay, we're making progress here. You're using simple forms, but you're just not converting, right? That's where the common bottlenecks of either your form has too many fields, it's too complicated, or there's not enough value proposition or not enough scarcity or social proof, right? So your conversion will be super, super low, under 10%. 3 out of 5, we're making progress again. Landing page or your form is converting and, getting an opt-in rate of about 10 to 15%, but it's inconsistent. This doesn't happen every month over month, right? So there are leaks here that you can be fixing. At stage 4 out of 5, if you're converting at 15 to 25% with a mobile optimized branded page that's tracked consistently, now we're making progress. You're almost there. You're about 80% of the way there, but there's still things we could be fixing. Okay, so 5 out of 5. Here's how it works. You have an optimized funnel with lead magnet or intro offer that's converting at 25% plus, tracked by reliable sources, and it's from a consistently or producing this at a consistent rate, right? This is usually done with a optimized funnel with either an introductory offer or a really, really good lead magnet that allows you to convert this at 25%. With the lead magnet, what you're essentially just doing is offering this as a way of like, hey, if you provide your information, your contact information, you'll be able to access this lead form, or this lead magnet rather. Lead magnets that we've seen work are anything along the lines of what type of products you should be using if you're dealing with X, right? That's a great one to use. And, what you should be doing before getting this procedure. Anything like that that would build trust with a potential client while also allowing you to give away value in exchange for contact information is great. So just write your score here. Be truthful on what you think you're doing and what you could be doing better, right? A quick win for you here is just to simplify your lead forms. Just capture the name, the phone, and their email. That's really all you need. Any additional field can reduce your conversion rate by approximately 7%, right? Our goal here isn't to get every sort of information about our client. We can do that during the consultation. Right now, we just need to be able to get their contact info. That's it. Okay, so the next stage is also very critically important. It's about follow-up and nurture. This is where most med spas lose money, is in the follow-up and nurture stage. And most med spas don't even realize that they're losing money here. After someone fills out your form, how long does it really take them before they hear from you? Minutes? Hours? Days? So here's what top performing clinics are using. An instant SMS or email response, pre-built nurture flows, objection handling messages that build trust. Or even the elite ones now are using AI-powered agents that are essentially following up consistently with personalized messages, not just pre-built ones, every time at the right moment, every single time. If you're just relying on your front desk staff, a lead coordinator, a sales coordinator, anything like that, for manual follow-ups, and delays end up happening because for humans, delays do happen, this is likely costing you tens, potentially thousands per month in missed bookings, right? So industry standard here, again, is sure, 24-hour response time. Ideally, you could be doing that better. We could be getting you at the elite performance level where you're immediately automated responding with strategic follow-up sequences to any sort of lead that comes in. Common bottlenecks here is you're using a manual follow-up process. You have a person dedicated to doing this, or you're doing this along with your staff. This often leads to inconsistent messaging by different people who don't know what to say and say the wrong thing. Long response times, or even no systematic approach or strategic approach to how you should be nurturing someone who's unsure but just needs a little bit of nudging to get them to book a consult with you, right? Or you're just not tracking how you're dealing with prospective clients at all. Here's how it ends up working. If you're doing manual follow-ups, just calls, text, or emails that are done by an actual person and then ends up to leads being lost, you're probably going to get a 1 out of 5, right? If you're using a CRM, great. That's great progress already. But, they're using just a simple SMS tool, but it's inconsistent, clunky, still manual pretty much, right? No sequences, no automated processes. That's a 2 out of 5. 3 out of 5, here's where it kind of averages. You have basic automations, but you're usually using one channel, usually SMS or email, right? 4 out of 5, now we're getting somewhere, but you're using multi-channel automations. You're on multiple channels such as email, SMS, maybe even voice, like you're calling up leads, but you're kind of lacking personalization. Everything seems robotic because you're not using advanced, more current processes that are working with AI. If you're using fully automated follow-up SMS across SMS, email, WhatsApp, and AI voice with real-time lead routing to make sure that you're dealing with the most prospective leads or the most valuable leads right away, that is what gets you a 5 out of 5 here. Here's a quick one. If you just implement automated text message follow-up that sends immediately after a form is submitted by a prospective lead, then this alone will just probably increase your bookings by 35%. Okay, let's move on to the next stage for the booking and show up rate. Now, booking someone into a consultation isn't the finish line, as we know, right? It's just the halfway point is how I like to think about it. While we care about bookings, what we actually care about is who actually shows up to their consultations. What you want here has to be a smooth self-booking experience, synced up calendar, reminder sequences for people who have booked a consultation, 24 hours before their consultation, 2 hours before, and 30 minutes before. Pre-consult education with educational authority building content boosts confidence and make sure that you have less people not showing up. If you're still manually confirming appointments or dealing with, frequent no-shows, that's because there's a gap in your system, which is ultimately a leak, right? So industry standard here is that half of your booked consultations show up. What we want to be at for elite of MedSpa has to be 80% of your booked consultations are showing up, right? Common bottlenecks you'll end up dealing with here is either your booking process is too complicated. It confuses your clients and then with confusion just leads to more no-shows. Or there is a long wait time between when a person books and when they're able to come to an appointment, right? Other thing you can do here is, or other bottlenecks you could be looking at is insufficient appointment reminders. Once someone books, if they're not reminded, people will forget and they will not show up. The worst thing you can do for someone is make sure that they forget to show up when they actually wanted to, right? One of the biggest reasons for a person not showing up is because they just didn't find it important enough, right? So if you're not delivering value from the moment someone books the appointment and every time they're reminded about their appointment, you're just increasing the chance that they don't find it important, so they won't show up. And if people are confused, you're just giving them an excuse not to show up. So having unclear next steps after the booking happens is one of the worst things you can do. Okay, here's how we're going to score this. If you have no calendar system, your leads are constantly ghosting you and your team is manually calling every single lead, asking them, hey, are you going to show up to your consultation today? That's what a 1 out of 5 MedSpa is doing. If you're using a automated scheduler, but you have no reminders or no confirmations of people who are showing up, that's another red flag, right? But if you have basic reminders, you're still experiencing, 30 to 40% of your leads not showing up. We've made progress, but there's still a lot you could do. Now, if you're getting show up rates about in the 60 to 70% range, reminders are constant, and you're having some sort of pre-consult nurturing in place, you're pretty much 80% of there, right? Now, if you're getting show up rates of 75% plus automated reminders, ideally using AI to make sure you call leads automatically to confirm the appointments with structured and strategic pre-consult education flows built in to your nurturing sequence, that's a 5 out of 5 MedSpa if I've ever seen one. Okay. If you're experiencing issues with this, a quick one that you can do is just implement a simple 3-touch reminder system. Just remind someone 24 hours, 2 hours, and 30 minutes before their booked consultation that they have it coming up. This in itself can reduce your no-shows by up to 60%, just simply reminding people, right? And think, if you add some value in your nurture sequences about what the procedure they're booked into, what it can do for them, and actually send that message in a way that resonates with them, that in itself will make a huge difference in why people find it important to show up to their bookings. Okay, now we're in the room, and this is where the revenue is won or lost in the consultation. Now, if your team is kind of just winging it, they're just kind of following a random procedure, not really have a structured approach to this, or no clear objection handling, then you're leaving high-ticket procedures on the table, right? Top clinics are using pre-framing content before the appointment or consultation happens, and they're following a clear consultation script or outline. So this includes having authority building visuals or story in the nurture sequence and follow-up automation for anyone who doesn't want to commit on the spot. You don't want to be pushing anyone or using pushy sales tactics, right? But you have to be confident that you have a system. If someone doesn't agree to work with you on the spot, at least you have the system in the back end to make sure that you're confident eventually further down the line, they will want to do it. Maybe they just need to think about it. That could honestly be the case, right? If this part of your process feels improvised or very manual, your close rate will probably reflect it, right? So industry standard is for every 10, let's say, booked consultations, you should be closing at least 20% of them, right? At an elite scale, you're probably closing at least 40% of them. Common bottlenecks you're looking at here is inconsistent consultation processes, right? You're kind of just winging it. Staff is just kind of explaining procedures, not following a script or an outline. Again, this leads to untrained staff just handling consultations, not knowing how to handle objections that come up, right? There's no clear next steps or urgencies when doing these consultations into pushing the client into working with you. Or you're just not demonstrating the value of the procedures you're offering to these clients, right? How the scoring for this would work is you have no structured consult or offer, and the price drops on the spot if you're just willing to cave and offer discounts. The second thing is consult process varies by team member. Each staff member is doing it differently, right? There's no set scripts or upsells built in. You have that one team member who's doing really, really well and converting most of their appointments, and then there's a few that aren't doing it well, right? And you have no idea as to why. Now, in 3 out of 5, the script exists, but it's not followed by every single person consistently, and your close rate will reflect that by being under 20%. If you have a consistent process that every staff member is following with a close rate between 25 to 30%, but you're not implementing an upsell strategy when closing them on procedures, you're getting there, but there's still opportunities for you to add more revenue. For a 5 out of 5 MedSpa, you have a 30% plus close rate, a clear offer structure, upsells that are positioned in a not selling manner, but have authority content and post-consult automations in place to take care of people who don't commit on the spot, right? If you're struggling with this, right, and your score here is anything less than a 4 or a 5, here's a quick one for you. A standardized consultation script that you know that works, that will address the top 5 objections for any type of procedure that someone's coming in for a consult, can just increase your close rate by 15 to 20% overnight without you even having to move a finger. Okay, let's move into section 2. I want you to add up your scores from the previous parts of this document, and here's what it means. If you're between 5 to 10, you've got critical gaps. Your business is running, but your systems are completely broken, right? You're likely losing $10,000 to $30,000 a month in missed potential revenue. Now, if you score between 11 and 17, you have pieces that are working, but there's lots of drop-offs that are capping your growth, right? There's some structure, but lots of manual effort and lots of lost opportunity. Okay, if you're 18 to 23, I describe this as a very strong foundation. You're very close. You have a few smart automations, that could double your booked appointments and stuff like that. You just need some more intelligent automation and refinements there. Okay, if you're 24 to 25 and that's what you scored, you're scale ready. You're operating efficiently and you're ready to maximize your ad spend and optimize your business even further, right? And you're likely mostly outperforming clinics in your market, not even worrying about what they're doing. Right. And now that you've seen the breakdown, let's talk about what to do with it, right? If you're in the critical 5 to 10 stage, your system just has way too many gaps, right? You need to focus on building basic automations in the highest scoring areas while seeking expert help for your weakest systems. If you're in the unstable area, then you've implemented some effective elements, but your leads are just getting lost, right? Your priority should just be connecting your system together to make sure that it works. If you're between the strong foundation stage, you have good process, but you're not fully leveraging automation and AI. This in itself will potentially increase your capacity by 30 to 40%. Now, if you score at 24 out of 25, you're outperforming 90% of your competitors and don't need to stress, right? You're ready to increase your marketing spend, expand services, and you just need to focus on maintaining the consistency that you've worked so hard for while implementing some advanced analytics. And then let's look at the financial impact of this optimization. Let's look at what happens when you optimize stuff in your patient acquisition funnel. These calculations are just based on our work and what we would see would happen for MedSpas who are generating $50,000 to $200,000 a month. If you're currently generating, let's say, 100 qualified leads, even in an optimized stage, we would be okay with that. We would look for opportunities, but let's just assume that's where we're at. If your lead to appointment rate, so how many of the people who see your ads go to your webpage, how many of them actually book a consultation? If you're starting at 15%, if you're just able to double that to 30%, you're going to add 15 extra consultations a month with some simple changes in your lead to appointment optimization stage of your funnel, right? Now, let's look at show rate. If you're able to just increase your show rate from 50% to 80%, that's a 30% increase there. You're going to end up with 12 actual consultations that show up and do the consultation with you. Now, instead of just closing 20% of them, if we're able to implement a optimized script that every staff member is trained on with how to handle objections, you're at 35%. That in itself equals to 9 new patients per month with some few changes on 3 stages of your patient acquisition funnel, right? And if your average patient value, that means all the services you're selling them, is even at $2,500 a month, which we should also be optimizing, by the way, that in itself is a monthly revenue impact of $22,500 a month from 3 changes across 3 stages here. Right? This example just shows how optimizing just some basic conversion points without spending any extra dollars on marketing can generate an additional $22,500 in monthly revenue. So here are the bottleneck highlights. Here are the areas that need your immediate attention. Are your leads not great? Okay, then we need to be asking, are you attracting the right type of potential clients? If your follow-up automation is sucky, then is your follow-up process fully automated and consistent? If you're looking at your offer clarity, you need to be asking, am I offering the right sort of introductory offers that are compelling and clearly communicated? If your booking system has any issues, you need to be asking, is my booking process frictionless or not? And I am able to handle leads 24/7. If your close rate sucks, then you're going to need to be asking, are your consultations structured in a way to maximize conversions? Technology gaps or team capacity is everything as well, because is your team properly trained to handle this increased volume that you're bringing in, right? And then do you have the right tools and systems in place to handle that? Lastly, if you don't have a clear growth plan, do you have a strategic plan for even implementing the scaling patient acquisition process? Now, these bottlenecks are obvious, but there's some hidden bottlenecks that most MedSpas miss, right? Your marketing promises a premium experience, but if your consultation and onboarding process don't match that, then your client's expectations aren't met and your close rates will suffer. If you're following up leads with manual processes, then you're creating unnecessary bottlenecks. There's plenty of technology, especially with AI available, where we can have a premium lead follow-up process that doesn't require manual and tedious follow-up work. Most MedSpas are creating systems that work at their current volume, but they're not able to break this down when volume increases, right? This is where having automations and AI-powered systems work, because systems allow you to scale without experiencing any sort of pushback. Now, another key strategy or bottleneck that most MedSpas are dealing with is just not having a good cross-selling strategy. Most MedSpas have automated systems that intelligently nurture existing patients towards higher ticket treatments over time to make sure that you have a higher lifetime value of a customer, not just a one-time sale. Now, with this increased volume, you'll have to have an automated system to collect, filter, and publish reviews. You're missing a critical component of social proof if you're not making sure that you're only getting reviews from the best and most happy clients. Okay, so what now? If you're going through this blueprint and you're spotting gaps, you're like, oh shoot, I have that in my MedSpa as well. In your patient acquisition system, good. That's exactly what this whole video and document was designed to do. It was designed to show you where the gaps are and what you should be following to fix it. Right? But the patient acquisition blueprint is just one core phase inside what we call the Aesthetic Authority AI system. It's a fully built, done-for-you automation engine and growth procedure that helps MedSpas consistently book at least 30 more premium patients per month. We don't sell courses. We don't give you a bunch of tools and wish you luck. We install this system for you and then optimize it and stay there until it works. And because the system is so powerful, we only like to license it to one clinic per market area. Listen, if any of this resonated with you and you're ready to fix the weak links in your funnel, generate content that actually produces consistent qualified leads, and automate your entire lead to booking flow, and finally scale without burning out yourself or your team, I'll leave a link in the document as well as in the description down below. Book a call with us. During the call, we'll just walk you through the blueprint together. We'll send you over this document to assess any issues within your MedSpa itself, help you identify some of the ROI opportunities, and then show you exactly how this system will be custom installed in your clinic, right? I want to thank you for walking through this blueprint with me. Whether you decide to build all these procedures and systems by yourself or have us install it for you, I hope you've actually gotten some clarity and how to grow smarter within your MedSpa. See you soon. Thank you.